بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. This is an introduction to community medicine prepared by Professor M. Hani Suleiman, Al-Azhar Faculty of Medicine. Community medicine is that branch of medicine which deals with the study of provision of preventive, promotive, curative, rehabilitative, evaluated services to community health at large by organized comprehensive health care delivery system. Goal is to identify health problems and the needs of defined population. I want to say that community diagnosis is to identify health problems and needs of defined population, and this is part of the goal of the community medicine. Other parts of this goal is to provide comprehensive health care in the form of preventive, promotive, curative, rehabilitative services. All this is done in an organized manner. Then, evaluation of these services. The term community medicine is only a new terminology. It is the successor of the terms hygiene, preventive medicine, social medicine, and public health. Hygiene is derived from Greek word hygeia, which means goddess of health in old Greek stories. It is defined as science of health and embraces all factors contributing to healthful living. Embraces all factors contributing to healthful living. Later, public health directed towards maintenance and improvement of health of people. Then public health goal was to control of communicable disease, sanitation, health, education. Then public health was defined as science and art of preventing disease. Why we say science and art? Science means systematic information. Art means it needs skills, special skills. So public health was defined as science and art of preventing disease, prolonging life, and promoting health by, again, organized community efforts for control of communicable disease, sanitation, health, education. To enable every citizen to realize his birthright of health and longevity. Every person, every human being, when he was delivered, has birthright of health and longevity. So importance of preventing disease was highlighted. Applied to healthy persons as to prolong life. It is mainly applied to healthy persons to prolong life. Preventive medicine defined as science and art of preventing disease, prolonging life, and promoting physical and mental health efficiency. What about community diagnosis? It equals identification and quantification of health problems in terms of morbidity and mortality rates. I mean disease and death rates, and their influencing factors in a community. What influence these rates of mortality and morbidity? This go with community diagnosis. Why we do this? This is done to prioritize health problems and implement control measures. When diagnosis is made in an individual by a doctor based on symptoms and signs, it is called clinical diagnosis. Differences between clinical diagnosis and community diagnosis will be shown in the next table. These are the differences between clinical diagnosis and community diagnosis. I will concentrate on the column of community diagnosis. It is made by the epidemiologist concerned with defined population, concerned with both sick and healthy people. Epidemiologist conducts surveys. It is arrived at based on natural history of disease. It involves epidemiological investigations. Epidemiologist decides the plan of action, what to do when he diagnoses. Prevention and promotion is the main aim of his work. It involves the evaluation of program. Epidemiologist is interested in statistical values. Concepts of health. Health is defined by WHO as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual, and not merely an absence of disease or infirmity. Health is not an end, but a way, but means to another end. Equals live socially and economically a productive life. Health is three-dimensional: physical, mental, and social. Non-medical dimensions include spiritual, emotional, vocational, and political dimensions. Please measure yourself on the coming slides. قس نفسك على الشرائح القادمة. هل أنت تتمتع بصحة جيدة؟ Physical dimension. A person is physically healthy when all organs and systems in body function perfectly at their optimum capacity. Signs of physical health are, for example, good complexion, clean skin, bright eyes, well built, and so on. All systems function normally. For example, all special senses are intact. Resting temperature 37, pulse rate, respiratory rate is within normal limits. Physical health of an individual assessed by history of taking treatment or hospitalization, and so on. Mental dimension. A person is mentally healthy when he or she having a perfect state of balance with surrounding. Perfect state of balance with surrounding. Intelligence, memory, learning capacity are normal. Not having any internal conflicts, accepts criticism freely. Has got good self-control emotionally. Solves problems intelligently. He is cheerful and calm. Cheerful and calm. Mental health of an individual can be assessed by his behavior and attitude. Social dimension of the individual. He is socially healthy when he is accepted, respected, and loved by family, friends, relatives, neighbors, and others. Respected, accepted, and loved by family, friends, relatives, and others. A spiritual dimension. One has sound mind in a sound body with knowledge of values, morale, and discipline. Sound mind in a sound body with knowledge of values, morale, and discipline. Emotional dimension. if he does not lose temper or does not develop tension and has self-control. Vocational dimension, if he is capable of earning sufficiently to lead the life successfully. Positive health, he is enjoying a state of health which is fundamental human right, essence of productive life, integral part of development, central to concept of quality of life, worldwide social goal. Well-being. The objective component of well-being relates to standard of living, which includes educational level, income, occupational status, standard of housing, nutrition, sanitation, and rest. This primarily depends on GNP, gross national products, GNP. It depends on GNP. It includes education, income, occupation, housing, nutrition, sanitation, and rest. Subjective component of well-being is the quality of life. There is a composite index called physical quality of life. Physical quality of life, or PQLI, physical quality of life index. It contains 3 indicators, which are infant mortality rate, life expectancy at age 1, and literacy. So the physical quality of life index contains 3 indicators: infant mortality rate, life expectancy at age 1, and literacy. How to calculate it? For each component, performance of an individual countries is placed on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 represents worst performance and 100 represents best performance and 50 represents average. Still, how to calculate it? Taking average of all the 3 components we said before, giving equal weight to each of them, resulting indicator scaled from 0 to 100 as follows. Infant mortality rate, IMR, weight on a scale of 0 to 10 is for infant mortality rate 220 per 1,000 live births or above, and 100 on a scale for 7 per 1,000 live births. This is referred to weighted infant mortality rate. Then weight age of life expectancy at age 1 is on scale 0 to 100. It is 0 if for 38 years and 100 for 77 years. This referred to as B. Actual literacy rate is considered. It is referred to as C. Average, A plus B plus C by 3. This PQLI does not depend upon per capita GNP. It is unlike standard of living, so this PQLI showing money is not everything. For example, Middle East oil-rich countries with high per capita income have low PQLI, whereas Sri Lanka, for example, with low per capita income have high PQLI. Thus, PQLI does not measure economic growth of a country, but it measures results of social, economic, and political policies. The ultimate objective is to attain PQLI of 100. Now we are talking about some uh, definitions concerning epidemiology. Epidemiology is a study of distribution and determinants of health-related states, events in specified population. A study of distribution and determinants of health-related states and events in a specified populations, and application of this study to control of health problems. So practice of epidemiology equals scientific process to detect, investigate, and analyze health problems, followed by applying this information to control and prevent these problems. Evaluation of control and prevention is also within this practice. So there are uses of epidemiology. It is used for these reasons: historical study, community assessment, what are the health problems, working of health services to measure their efficacy, effectiveness, and efficiency, individual risk and chances of each person, actuarial risks, health hazard appraisal, completing clinical picture, identification of syndromes, search for causes, case control and cohort studies, evaluation of processing symptoms and signs, clinical decision analysis. These are uses of epidemiology, a very wide uses. What is a surveillance? It equals observation. Surveillance is a French word. In English, it means observation. What is the definition of surveillance in epidemiology? Because it is at beginning of epidemiological sequence, the surveillance, it is important. Surveillance is ongoing, systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of health data to plan, implement, and evaluate public health practice, closely integrated with dissemination of these data to whom it may concern, to make a link between surveillance with prevention and control efforts. Surveillance cycle or steps. At the beginning, we collect data. These data must be relevant, standardized, regular, frequent, timely. يعني نحصل عليها في الوقت المناسب. Timely. Secondly, consolidation and interpretation of this information. Orderly, descriptive, evaluative, timely. Then dissemination, which must be prompted to all who need to know. Most probably those who need to know are providers and action takers, صانع القرار. Then action to control and prevent. 4 main steps, each of them must have a specific description. First step is collection of data, then consolidation and interpretation, then dissemination, then action to control and prevent. What are the characters of surveillance system? 7 items: simplicity, acceptability, sensitivity, timeliness, high predictive value positive, flexibility, representativeness. All this we will know when we go inside the lecture. There is another uh, way, another tool used in epidemiology, which is epidemiological investigation. As when a case or some cases happen and we want to know the description of these happenings, we want to describe them so we can control and prevent. This investigation in 10 steps. At the first, you determine existence of an epidemic. There is an epidemic. You must know by the number, place, and time. Then confirm the diagnosis. Go to those persons who complaining of something and confirm the diagnosis. Find out symptoms and signs, investigations that say, for example, this person has typhoid or influenza and so on. Define and count the cases. Then put the data according to time, place, and person. Observe the arrow. Then 5, determine who is at risk of this problem. Then develop and test an explanatory hypothesis. Then compare the hypothesis with proven facts. Then plan a more systematic study. Prepare a written report. Propose measures for control and prevention. These steps is a must. These steps are a must. You cannot reach the 10th item, which is measures for control and prevention, without the other 9, and they are in this sequence. وفي النهاية لا أجد إلا أن أقول thank you والحمد لله رب العالمين.